if you look up here at this very first sentence, I've got 4 to the negative 1, which says that it's 1/4, or 1 over 4 to the 1. So we want to figure out how 4 to the negative 1 is 1/4. Okay. So if you look at 4 squared, 4 squared evaluated gives me an answer of 16. If I subtract 1 from my exponent, so I go down to 4 to the first, that gives me just 4. So if you divide those two answers, so 16 divided by 4, I get 4. Okay. Now if I subtract that exponent again, so I have 4 to the 0, 4 to the 0 is 1 because any number raised to the 0 power is always 1. Okay. No matter what number it is, it's 1. So if I take 4 and divide it by 4 again, what do I get?
4.
4 divided by 4?
1.
1. Okay, so if I subtract another from my exponent, that would give me 4 to the negative 1. So if I divide 1 by 4, what does it give me? 1/4. Okay, so that is how I can say that 4 to the negative first power is 1 over 4 to the positive 1, or positive 4. Okay. So with that being said, anytime that I have a number raised to a negative exponent, so here I've got a to the negative n, I can simplify it, or I can make it have a positive exponent by putting 1 over that number, but I change that negative to a positive. Okay. So a to the negative n becomes 1 over a to the positive n. And of course your a cannot equal a 0, because then you would just have a 1 on the bottom. Okay. So if you look over here to the side, we've got 6 to the negative 4th. So that means I'm going to put 1 over this term, but I'm changing it to a positive 4. So 1 over 6 to the 4th. Okay. And then here I've got 9 to the 0, which we said was 1, which is always 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Okay. Questions so far? Okay. Example 1, I've got 3 to the negative 4th. So I'm going to put 1 over that, but change that negative sign to a positive. So 1 over 3 to the positive 4. Same thing as if I have a base of a variable, y to the negative 2. That's going to become 1 over y to the positive 2. So in example 2a, I'm given the opposite. So I'm given 1 over 6 to the 3rd, and they want me to write it with a negative exponent. So you're just doing exact opposite. I'm going to put 6 to the negative 3rd. So you're going to take that denominator, you're going to raise it to a negative number. Okay. If I'm given just a whole number, so like in example B, I have 1 over 81. Does 81 have an exponent other than 1? No. Right now it's got an exponent of 1, but in the directions it told me to use a negative exponent other than negative 1. So can you think of a number that is squared or cubed or to the 4th that gives me 81? 9. So I can change this to say 1 over 9 squared, and then I can express that using a negative exponent other than 1. So I could say 9 to the negative 2. Okay. Questions on that? Alright, let's look at example 1. Write each expression using a positive exponent. Right now I've got negative exponents. So 6 to the negative 4, how am I going to rewrite that? Madeline? 1 over 6 to the positive 4. We want it with a positive exponent. Okay, so number 2, I've got negative 7 to the negative 8. So to rewrite that with a positive exponent, that means I've got 1 over that whole term, but to a positive 8. So 1 over negative 7 to the 8. Number 3, I've got b to the negative 6. So that's going to give me 1 over b to the positive 6. And number 4 into the negative 1, that's going to give me 1 over into the positive 1. Questions? All right, y'all do those next 4 real quick on your own. Finish?
Yes.
Did you do them? Okay, somebody raise your hand and tell me what you got for number 5. London. Good. 1 over negative 2 to the 5th power. What about number 6? Asia. Good. 1 over 10 to the 3rd power. Number 7, Ethan. 1 over j to the 9th power. And last one, Madeline. Good. 1 over a to the 2nd power. A question on that? Okay. Next section. It says write each expression using a negative exponent other than negative 1. So I'm doing the opposite. So number 9, I've got 1 over 2 to the 2nd power. How can I rewrite this with the negative exponent? London. Good. 2 to the negative 2nd power. So number 10, 1 over 13 to the 4th. That means it's just going to be 13 to the negative 4th. Elliot, you should be writing everything, not playing with the gloves. Number 11, now I've got 1 over 25. So do you see an exponent there? No. So that means I need to come up with a number to an exponent. So what can I change that 25 to? Addison. 5 to the what? Huh? 5 to the negative 5th. 5 to the negative 5th will give me a big number. 5 to the what, London? 5 to the 2nd. So I can change this as 1 over 5 squared, which would all change to just simply 5 to the negative 2nd power. Remember, we don't multiply that base in the exponent. This means that it's 5 times 5. All right, number 12, 1 over 49. So is there a way that I can change this to a number to an exponent? Trey? I just said you don't multiply your base and your exponent. Jaden. 7 to the 2nd power. Because that means 7 to the 2nd power means 7 times 7, not 7 times 2. Okay? So now how can I write this with a negative exponent? Henry.
7 to the negative. 7 to the negative 2nd.
Okay. 7 to the negative 2nd power. All right, do those next 4 real quick. Got him? Amy, are we taking notes?
Done.
All right, somebody tell me what you got for 13. Trey. Good. 3 to the negative third power. Number 14. Ethan. Good. 9 to the negative second power. Number 15. Henry.
11 to the negative 10.
Negative 10. Right. Jesus.
Negative second.
Negative second. 11 to the negative second power. You've got to remember that this is 11 times 11. Not 11 times 2. And what about number 16? Max.
9 to the negative 6.
Is 9 squared 27?
Nope.
9 times 9? Nope. Ashlyn. 9. Wait, 9 to the negative third?
No, I have it. 3 to the negative.
Lillian.
3 to the negative
3 to the negative 3. Because 3 cubed gives you 27. Because that means 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. It's not always going to be squared. It can be cubed or to the 4th or to the 5th or whatever. Okay. Any questions on that? Alright, flip over to the back. And quit talking. Alright, now we are using negative exponents to evaluate expressions. So, my directions say to evaluate b to the negative second if b equals 3. So all I'm doing is I'm plugging that 3 in for b. So that means I've got 3 to the negative second, which I need to change to a positive exponent. So 1 over 3 to the second. And then 3 to the second is 9, so 1 over 9. And that's my answer. Example 2, we're doing the same thing, except now I have a coefficient. So I've got 8c to the negative 4th when c is equal to 2. So that means I'm plugging that 2 in for c. But what do I have to do first here? Do I multiply the 8 times the 2? Do I multiply 8 times 2 or do I do 2 to the negative 4th? I have to do 2 to the negative 4th first before I can do anything else. So that means I've got 8 times 1 over 2 to the 4th, which is 1 over 16. So then 8 times 1 over 16 gives me 1/2. Here they are just cross-canceling. So you can divide 16 by 8, and you get 2. 8 divided by 8 gives you 1. So it leaves you with a 1 over 2. Okay, let's look at example 1. P to the negative 2, but what is P in this case? 6, so that means I have 6 to the negative 2, which I need to change so that I don't have that negative exponent. So that means I got to change it to 1 over 6 squared. And then what is 6 squared? 36. So final answer is 1 over 36. Number 2, I've got m to the negative third power. And m, they told me, is negative 4. So that means I've got negative 4 to the negative third, which would be the same as 1 over negative 4 to the positive third. And then what is negative 4 to the positive third? First off, with an odd exponent, is my answer going to be negative or positive? Negative. Remember, if I have an odd exponent, that means it's going to give me a negative. So what is 4 to the third? What? 64. So 1 over negative 64. Alright, number 3, I've got np to the negative first. So first off, I have to do n times p. So I've got n, which is 1, times p, which is 6, to the negative first power, which is the same as saying 6 to the negative first power. which is also the same as saying 1 over 6, which is my final answer. Questions? Okay. Number 4, I've got 3 to the m. So what is m? Negative 4. So 3 to the negative 4. How can I change that? So that I don't have a negative exponent? 1 over 3 to the 4th, right? And then what is 3 to the 4th? 81?
81.
So final answer is 1 over 81. Any questions? Do I need to work out any more of these? Yeah? Okay. Let's do number 5 because I've got 2 variables. I've got p to the n. So what is p in this case? 6. And then what is m?
Negative 4.
So that means I've got 6 to the negative 4. I don't want a negative exponent, so I need to change it so that it's positive, which means I've got to put 1 over it. So 1 over 6 to the 4th. And then what is 6 to the 4th power?
1,296.
So I've got 1 over that.
That's a big one.
Alright, number 6, I've got 2 times n to the negative 2. So I've got 2 times negative 4 to the negative 2. 2 times negative 4 should give me negative 8. So I got negative 8 to the negative 2, which is saying the same as 1 over negative 8 to the positive 2, which gives me what?
Negative 64. Or 1 over negative 64.
1 over positive 64. Remember, when you're doing that, you have to put those parentheses in your calculator. Because this means negative 8 times negative 8. So your base is negative 8. So you are squaring negative 8. If you don't put parenthesis, negative 8, parenthesis, squared, it will not give you your positive answer like it should be. It will give you a negative answer. Because your calculator thinks you're multiplying negative 1 times 8 squared. Okay. Alright, any questions? Yes.
Like number 11 and 12. How around next ladder.
Yes, ma'am? Okay. Do you want to write down your homework real quick? Because that's all we're doing for this today. What was your question, Elliot?
Like for number 11 and 12.
Uh-huh.
There's round numbers.
Okay, so you've got m p to the negative 2. So this means you're multiplying m times p to the negative 2. Right? So m is going to be negative 4. And then you're multiplying that times p, which is 6 to the negative 2. So that's how we should do it. Guys, this is an important question. So I suggest we all listen. This is number 11. If I plug my numbers in, that means I've still got this negative 4 out front, and I need to multiply it by 6 to the negative 2, which would be the same as saying 6 squared. And then negative 4 times, what is 1 over 6 squared? Should be negative 4 times 1 over 36. And then what would that be? We can cross cancel, can't we? So 36 divided by 4 would give me 9, right? So that would leave me with a 9. This 4 would leave me with a 1. So I would have negative 1/9. So anytime that you have a variable times another variable to that exponent, unless the MP is in parentheses, then that exponent is just going with that very first variable that it's next to. Okay.
And like 8 3/8. It was something like that.
Like over a fraction?
Like a different number instead of like 1
Possibly. Alright, you should be working on your homework now, which is page 502, numbers 15 through 39 odds. I don't want to hear any talking whatsoever until you